Hello there, Katie Hunt here with your General Weekly Tarot card reading for the week of April 8th, 2019. This week I'm using the Everyday Witch Tarot cards by Deborah Blake and intuiting any additional information that comes in from our guides and from the universe so that we have the absolute best understanding on what is to come in the upcoming week. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you spent some time last week connecting to the new moon energy that was upon us on Friday. If you did not, by using intention, you're able to still connect with that new moon energy. And why you might want to do that is to manifest, to perhaps manifest some solutions to the difficulties or the problems that you faced last week. There was a lot of us who did not sleep. And there was a lot of us who had a really tough time emotionally. Myself personally, I had a really tough week for the first chunk. Things shifted on Thursday, but it was a really hard week for me. And I know that I was not alone in that. I know that there was a lot of people out there. So hopefully there was a big shift for you. If not, my heart is with you. It will shift soon. The thing that they would really like me to drill home with all of you is to sit in it and to experience it. We have difficulty happening in our life, or when we are experiencing really uncomfortable emotions in our body and whatever, we tend to love to run away, to suppress them, to drink, to eat comfort food, to complain, to escape in some way, to escape ourselves, to escape the healing that has to happen. And sometimes, absolutely, it's time to take a breather and to just leave it alone a little bit so you can come back to it later. Absolutely. But you need to connect to your intuition and know when you need to face whatever's going on in your life. And last week, whatever came up for you last week was one of those times. So some of it is a bunch of lies that you tell yourself. In fact, probably most of it is because of all of these beliefs and all of these systems that you have in place that you've brought through with you in your life because of the things that have happened to you. They are lies. They are not truth. And they are coming up, bubbling up to the surface so that they can be healed, so that you can let them go, so that you can create new belief systems that are perhaps more in alignment with who you are. What is important about this stuff is when it comes up, it really sucks and it doesn't feel great, but you have the opportunity when this stuff comes up to clear it and look at it once and for all so that it never has to come back again. So get curious about this stuff that triggered you last week. Get curious about things that really bothered you or things that happened that you couldn't fix. It's not necessarily about solving problems. It's about getting curious and understanding. And that is carrying on with us this week. Part of this week going in, they're showing me an uphill battle. We had that sort of message last week, this walking up, carrying 10 broomsticks all by yourself. This week they're saying uphill battle. So if you feel like you're climbing a bit of an uphill battle, it's okay to take a break and look at where you've been. Just observe the view from wherever you are on that hill and just look at everything without trying to judge it or without trying to create solutions. We just simply want to be and observe, which is very hard for us because we like to get things done and we like to have meaning. Our mental bodies love for things to make sense, but sometimes things don't make sense right away, and that is a very hard lesson to learn. It is very uncomfortable, but sometimes that's just the best way, is to let things simmer so that they make a bit more sense in the long run, and things they tend to come together in a very beautiful way. So another way that, or a way that all of this can be much easier, is to get outside and to connect. If you have another happy place that's, maybe you're not a forest person, but maybe you have another happy place, go visit that place. If it's a mall, if it's your house, make sure you make a little ceremony and just go intentionally take time for you to connect to that happy space. Even if it's inside of your own head, just go there, do some healing just by being, just simply by enjoying the space, not trying to figure things out. If you start to get triggered in that space, then take that opportunity to ask more questions to yourself and see if you get any answers. And if you don't, that's okay. Just using the breath to let it go, or however else comes to you, to process these emotions, these beliefs, these patterns, whatever it is that's coming up for you. But they are showing me a beautiful little forest, and they're actually showing me a bunch of really cute little fairies. So if you like to work with beings that are not human form, if you believe in angels and fairies, all of that, which maybe you do if you're watching this tarot card reading, because I usually work with angels, and I talk to them throughout these readings, so hopefully you do too. But if you don't, that's okay, you don't have to work with them. But if you do, the fairies might be a beautiful being to connect to if you're looking for a little bit of healing. They're gonna revive you in a fun way. So they'll spring some more fun into your life. And spring is a beautiful time to work with the fairies because they're all excited, they're buzzing around, taking care of the planet and how it's uncovering from its winter slumber and beginning to become reborn again and starting to come awake a little bit. So if fairies are your jam, maybe talk to them. Just go to a forest and start talking to them. Bring them some chocolate. Don't bring chocolate to a dog park. But if you want, you can bring them even a little bit of wine. Just bring them a present of some kind. And make sure that if you take anything from the earth, to leave something behind, like a piece of hair or fingernail or something from you. Sounds gross, but we need to give back when we take stuff from the earth. You can bring them a little crystal. Maybe ask them to come home with you and work with you. Okay, let's get into the reading. Okay. Okay, so for the theme of this week, we have the devil. The devil, we've received this card recently again. The way that this is presenting itself this week is not typical. We'll put it this way. It's as if your shadow self is going to be guiding you this week. So we all know the visual of the angel and the devil on their shoulder. So usually, well, for most of us, the angel usually tends to win out because the devil sometimes wants to be a bit reckless. Sometimes the devil wins. Most of the time, the angel on our shoulder kind of wins out. This week, that devil voice is going to be really loud. In fact, it's almost going to be like, what the image they're showing me is this angel like tied to a chair with a sock in her mouth, like unable to speak and to tell you not to do it. Like the devil has taken over and is trying to influence you. And I'm not saying that in a fearful way, like the actual devil, but there is going to be this shadow self, these untapped into desires that are going to be tempting you this week, and they're going to be really hard to resist. And it's not always a bad thing, but you need to connect into your guts before you make any sort of big decisions this week, because they could be driven from a place that you might later regret. So use your judgment there. So yes, it's just kind of leading us into this temptation type of space. And it's going to be very attractive. So maybe an opportunity comes to you that seems a little bit reckless, but seems very attractive to you. And it might be a bit harder to resist those other impulses. And this doesn't even have to be so intense as like doing something illegal. It could be like you've been really trying to cut out sugar, but then all of a sudden this other part of you is like, sugar's really not that bad. Like, just go all in. And then you all of a sudden end up binge eating all of this bad sugary food that you were trying so hard to avoid. And then later you feel guilty about it. It's not so much that you did it and you enjoyed it. It was like you did it too much so that you're actually paying the consequences. It kind of ended up hurting you. Even though nobody else really got hurt in the meantime, you just ended up with a really sore stomach. So it's kind of stuff like that. So just be mindful of that this week as you go through if you're tempted by certain things. But this is all coming up and happening so that you're able to actually connect to your desires and question them. Why am I craving sugar? Why am I tempted by this person that's not my spouse? Why am I tempted by this super reckless opportunity? Or why do I suddenly want to buy a motorcycle? What part of me is feeling connected, or what part of myself do I see in this reckless opportunity that's making me want it, and why now? So like we talked about at the beginning of this reading, get curious about yourself and bring that through this week. So the Six of Wands is on Monday, Tuesday. This is also coming up in an interesting way. Beautifully partnered with the Devil card and everything that we just discussed is this whole... This is usually about generosity, community, praise. Careful that your ego doesn't get fired up this week. This is the ego this week. The Devil card symbolizes the ego in a big way. So don't let your ego become too inflated. There will be a temptation there for your ego to get really hyped up this week and to feel like you're superior. Usually this card is very beautiful to me. This card this week, the energy coming off of it is like, oh yes, here is a flower for you, miss, on your knees. So just be mindful of that. Try not to see yourself above other people. And if you are seeing yourself being better than someone else, question that, because that is another ego thing. That's your ego tricking you. So be mindful of that. And oh yeah. And so if you are looking to hire someone for anything, job, to work for you, to clean your house, to do whatever, try to see them as your equal, because sometimes when we're in positions of power, that we are usually when we're hiring somebody or asking someone for help, but where there's some sort of exchange, or even if there is an age difference or they owe you something, try really hard not to see yourself above anyone else when you make those kinds of decisions, because that you'll be very impacted by that. And that is another temptation that will be very appealing to you this week. There's lots of lessons so far this week. Oh my God. We have the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles is usually another great card. He has his cake and he's going to eat it too. The King of Pentacles has everything. He's done very well for himself. He is the guy who started this multi-million-dollar business and retired 3 years later, and now lives on his beautiful vineyard with his goats and his cow and his chickens. And he's just loving his life. Like, he just lives the greatest life. This is also about indulgence. So this ego situation we have going on may also trick you into thinking that this is your life, and you might overindulge a little bit too much. Alternatively, you could, for some of you, this is being tricked out of this, and you need to remember that this is your reality, which is, I know, a very confusing message, but this is a general weekly reading. So use your judgment there on which you fall under. It'll be easy to see, because midweek, ask yourself, am I the King of Cups? And see what the answer is in your ego. If it's yes, then great. But before you overindulge, or before you make any sort of reckless decision that somebody like the King of Pentacles may make, because he has all this money and all this power, are you actually in a position to act like the King of Pentacles? And if the answer is no, why do you believe that this is not available to you? Again, it's about questioning what's coming through for you. Oh my goodness. We have a very interesting week this week. So we have the Queen of Wands. And so the Queen of Wands is also very entrepreneurial type. This is the queen who's has it all because she has been able to harness her passions, and everything she touches just turns to success. She's the woman, she's the innovator, she is the beautiful, creative, successful type. I'm actually feeling like the Queen of Wands comes in and kind of wipes out all of the other crap from the week. So it's kind of our saving grace on the weekend to help pull you out of this ego space. Again, it's about standing as the queen or the king and seeing your subjects as your equals, not as beneath you. And they are a part of your community. Whoever the people are in your court, make sure that they are people in your eyes, and that they are a member of your team, and that you're all playing for the same team. So it will just be very tempting for you to put yourself on a pedestal, but just be mindful of that. And it's good to be mindful of that so that you don't hurt anybody's feelings. So the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, on the weekend, engage in something that you're passionate about. That is your homework for this week, besides all the other stuff I've just laid out. But find something that you like to do and do it on the weekend. That will help the ego to calm down. You can actually do that throughout the week to do things that you're passionate about. And if you find yourself too strong into your ego, pull yourself back and go do a hobby that you like. If you like to cook, go do that. If you like to do art, spend some time doing the art, but specifically make sure you do it on the weekend. Perhaps it's also time to reevaluate how you can bring your passion on the inside into the external world. There might be an opportunity for you this weekend to either explore that, or actually an opportunity might fall in your lap for that. Anything else? Should be a very interesting week. Spend time in nature if you find yourself going too far down a little rabbit hole, however that manifests for you. Make sure that you just step away and go to your happy place and take some time to breathe and to give back whatever doesn't serve you, and keep a journal. Write down those thoughts and the things that are going on in your head so you get them out of you and onto paper, or breathe them out, or however it is for you that makes sense. I personally like to write down how I'm feeling because I feel like that actually, better than talking, works wonders for me. It almost like transmutes as I'm writing it into something much better. So get curious about what works for you. Of course, I am here for you to help you through whatever you need, through coaching, through energy healing, through tarot card readings, personalized tarot card readings, and also meditation. So please feel free to reach out to me if you need any assistance next week or this week or any other week. This is not something to go into fear about. It's just one of those funny little human experiences that we're going to have next week. And I think that we'll get through the week and look back and just laugh. Like, I can't believe I just got a tattoo. Maybe not, but could be. This could very well be the week that you would do something like that. Or I can't believe I dyed my hair blue or something. So if my hair is blue next week, you will know that I fell into this ego trap, because I'm not allowed to dye my hair blue because I have to be in a wedding in a couple months and the bride would not be happy with me. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here every single week and for subscribing and liking and sharing. Let's grow this channel together so that I can bring you even more content. I am working on it. It's just getting the time to actually give it to you all. If you have not done so already, please head on over to katiehunt.ca to subscribe to my emailing list for your chance to win a free tarot card reading, as well as be connected with me each and every week so you receive weekly insights only shared through there. So there's lots of goodies in there. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you have a fantastic week.